turn to the vote on September 17th, 2015 meeting minutes. Sorry. Are there any comments or questions on the minutes from that meeting?
Yes, just on, there are two cases that are recorded in the minutes that stated they'd be reintroduced at the October board meeting. I see that we didn't have an October board meeting, and they're not with us today, so I'm just inquiring if there's any update.
There is no update. What's on the agenda today is on the agenda today.
All right.
Anyone else? Comments? Questions? Does anyone wish to accept the minutes?
Sure.
So do I need to think? Do I have a second? Thank you. All the board members, please.
Mr. Barron.
Yes.
Chief.
Yes.
Chairperson Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Delane.
Yes.
Voting Fitzgerald. Abstain. Shacter.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain.
We turn now to the executive director's reports. Lanny Alexander, our executive director, will give her report.
Good afternoon, everybody. Lovely to see you. I've handed out what is basically the sheet that I have with the statistics for the past few months. Since you have the entire thing, I'm not going to go through every line. I will just summarize by saying we have, at the moment, 331 buildings in our jurisdiction. 97 of those buildings are the 281.5 new buildings. Altogether, we have 34 buildings that have C of Os. 2 buildings are in that category that don't have Cs of Os or certificates of occupancy because they are by C and they are awaiting renewal. We have 96 buildings that are in the TCO 7B category. We have 95 buildings that have permits. We have 65 buildings in the narrative statement process. We have 19 with closed narrative statements. They're awaiting obtaining permits. And we have 46 now in the open narrative statement. We have 17 alteration applications that have been filed and 24 buildings that have not filed anything. Breaking down the new buildings, we have 3 buildings that have a C of O, 5 have TCOs, 9 have permits, 1 is listed as permit in process, 4 have finished the narrative statement process but have not pulled a permit, 35 of them are in the open narrative statement category, 17 have filed their Alt-1, and 23 of them have not filed anything yet. With regard to our registration renewals, as of the 18th of this month, we collected $1,300,280,000. This is in registration late fees and FOA and fines for failure to register. There are only 4 buildings that did not renew their registration this year, which is an amazing thing. 2 of them are on today's agenda. And 1 is in foreclosure, and the other one actually did try to register, renew his registration, but he is not counted because his check bounced. So we're waiting for the new check. And I just wanted to say that I credit 2 things for this amazing statistic. One is that the legislature found it in their hearts to raise our fines from $1,000 per violation to $17,500. And the other one is that every year, starting at the end of the summer, the staff each gets assigned a group of buildings and they call. And we call that the call-a-thon. And it has amazing results in getting everybody to register. And I really thank the entire staff for their effort. And that is my report.
Thank you.
Gina.
Could you tell me the amount again, the $1 million?
$1,300,280. Did I say it right this time? I'm not good with so many numbers. Mr. Delaney?
I'm sorry, just a couple of questions. The kind of shortly before October's meeting date cancellation, can you elaborate at all on the confluence of unforeseen circumstances?
We're not here to discuss staff and our processes. Whatever is on the agenda is what we're here to discuss.
Okay, fine. Second, something that's not on the agenda, I sent a letter around to the board members regarding my communication with the chair and with Lanny back in February on possibly looking to some way to allow board members to have more time to work with cases, and asked that that be a subject for discussion today.
Sorry. And I go back to my original statement. What's on the agenda is what we're going to discuss today.
Okay. One more question. A couple of cases on the summary calendar, and I can't cite them off, I didn't take notes on it, but a couple of the cases on the summary calendar included stipulations that were, I think, handwritten in court. And when they get to us, they're absolutely unreadable. So my request would be, if there are stipulations in that kind of condition, could there just be a little transcription of what the stipulation says, rather than look at this gray scan and you have no idea what it says.
I was wondering, with such great progress, do you plan to do another kind of annual report or 5-year report or whatever?
Probably in the next year.
2016?
Probably.
Probably.
Not that much to put in this year.
Yes.
Anyone else? We turn now to the summary calendar. There are 9 summary cases. These cases are voted on as a group. They are Therese Wegman and Gil Arno, 440 Broadway, Brooklyn, PO 0002. Number 2, Stephen R. Meyer, Neil F. Smith, and Argo Meyer, and 97 Henry Street, PO 0008. Number 3, Sarah M. Lee, 53-55 West 21st Street, PH 0197. So sorry, all off the Number 4, tenants of 73 Leonard Street, PH 0202. Number 5, Gil sorry about the pronunciation, Park, Young Her and Leobin on 46-48 Old Fulton Street, Brooklyn, TR 1068. Number 6, Fernando Santangelo and Yona Thacker, 10 Green Street, TR 1133. Number 7, Michael B. Allen, Donald Prokop, Criterion S. Ruby Morton, Denise Joan DeLong, Gil Arno, and Therese Wegman, 440 Broadway, Brooklyn, TR 1155. Tenants, number 8, tenants of 816 Broadway, TR 1261. Number 9, Ruben Lorch Miller, Laura Splan, Jose Ayala, Frederick Latin Campbell, Ed Leonard, Henry Chalian, Sergio Barrios, and Mitchell Wright, 104-106 Green Street, Brooklyn, TR 1121. Comments, questions?
Yeah, I just have a question on case number 5, 4648 Old Fulton Street. Maybe it's 2 questions actually. Has this unit been registered? Not yet. And therefore, if so, who's listed as the protected document? Not clear.
No.
Right. So this withdrawal, do we have a clear understanding what effect this withdrawal has on the process?
On the process, what process? I mean,
The registration process.
Well, we're directing them to register. It's not a problem to register a list of tenants' name, list, like a very occupant, let's say.
All right, so, okay, fine, thanks.
Any other questions on that? Is there a motion to accept the summary cases? Rivera, thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Barowitz. Ms. Rivera, can you poll the members?
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Chief.
Yes.
Deputy Major.
Yes.
Mr. Delaney.
Yes.
Ms. Golden Rivera. Yes. Mr. Shanker.
Yes.
Ms. Shelton.
Yes.
7 in favor.
Passes. We now come to the master calendar cases. The first two are failure to renew registration cases and will be voted on together. They are Peter F. Matera, 187 Duane Street, FO 0716, Thames Street Lots LLC and Thames Holdings, 13-15 Thames Street, Brooklyn, FO 0717. Is there a motion to accept these cases? Mr. Delaney, thank you. Do I have a second? Ms. Shelton, thank you. Ms. Rivera?
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Chief.
Yes.
Chairperson Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Delaney.
Yes.
Ms. Golden Rivera. Mr. Shanker.
Yes.
Ms. Shelton.
Yes.
7 in favor.
Excuse me, I did have a question.
Oh, my apologies.
Lanny, you stated one of these buildings is in foreclosure. Does that, what effect, does, if any, does that have on our levying a fine against the owner?
At this point, we're trying to figure out whether the owner sold, whether it's told where it is in the process. That's what we're trying to tackle that.
Okay, so the exact implications for us are not 100% clear. Okay, can I ask which building it is? That we don't have. Oh, it's not
It's
one of
not one of these
Oh,
cases.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, we didn't, that's why it's not here.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought that these two were.
No. We're finished polling, yes?
Yes, 7 in favor.
Great, thank you. The third case is an abandonment case. It is Kent Avenue Holdings LLC, 151 Kent Avenue, Brooklyn, LB 0182. Ms. Cruz, please present this case.
On June 12, 2013, an LLC of the building filed an application seeking an abandonment based on the alleged departure of Ellen Seinfeld, the attempted occupant of Unit 104. Income reporters further recommended that the board grant the finding of abandonment. The staff recommends that the board reject the recommendation. According to the record, Mr. Gross, the manager of the building, testified that when he began to manage the building in January 2012, he learned that there were brothers living in the building. Mr. Gross testified that he never met the tenant in person, but he was in contact with him. In 2013, an eviction proceeding was initiated alleging that Mr. Seinfeld should be evicted because he did not use the unit as his private residence. The court issued a warrant of eviction, and the LLC then signed a one-year lease with one of his brothers. After gaining possession of the unit in a holdover proceeding, the owner then filed this application seeking an abandonment order from the law court. An abandonment is defined as the voluntary relinquishment excuse me, relinquishment of possession of the unit and all rights relating to a unit with the intention of never resuming possession of the unit or reclaiming the right to surrender. The abandonment rule includes a list of 9 factors the board may consider in making abandonment determination. Regarding the factors notably absent from the evidence presented is when Mr. Seinfeld allegedly vacated the unit. The LLC also failed to show whether Mr. Seinfeld owed any rent at the time that he allegedly abandoned. What Mr. Seinfeld owed at the end of the holdover proceeding is not relevant.
There's also no evidence regarding whether Mr. Seinfeld provided notice of his intent to vacate or requested permission to sublet the unit. As Mr. Gross did not know, this information could have been asked of the owner. There was also no evidence in the record regarding whether the unit contained improvements installed by Mr. Seinfeld. Whether the unit has better fixtures than other units in the building does not answer the question about who installed the fixtures or improvements in Unit 104. The record also lacked evidence about prior harassment findings or violations of the minimum housing standards. Mr. Gross only worked with the building since 2012. Any violation of harassment finding in 2012 or afterward is not relevant because the critical time would have been at or around the time Mr. Seinfeld allegedly vacated the unit. Again, if Mr. Gross didn't know, he could have asked the owner. The record also lacks information about any affirmative efforts by the owner to locate the tenant to attempt to purchase improvements or rights. Based on this record, the staff does not recommend a finding of abandonment. The only relevant facts proven were that tenant's lease expired in September 2009 and that the housing court awarded judgment of possession against Mr. Seinfeld. The judgment in the non-primary residence case only proves that the tenant did not use the unit as his primary residence, not that the tenant relinquished the unit with the intention of never resuming possession. The staff recommends that the court deny the application.
Thank you. Questions? Mr. Delaney.
It seems to me a lot of analysis went into this. I just have a couple of questions. Since we couldn't determine timeliness, why did we not just reject this as being on time?
There was no evidence that it was untimely. I believe that they were arguing that it was timely because it was within the time period for when they got the warrant of eviction or awarded the judgment of possession. At the time for when to file the abandonment application started at that point. So I think it was important to make the point that no, it didn't. That the rule says when the alleged vacated the room and you didn't give us that information.
Right, but there's no burden on the applicant to prove timeliness.
No,
There is, which they didn't do.
that's.
And they pegged it to an argument that holds no water. So why didn't we reject it? Why didn't we reject it as untimely?
We thought it was important to go through the entire analysis to make sure that people understood that the timeliness starts when you vacate the unit and that based on this record, you can't tie someone being evicted for non-primary residence to an abandonment. It's not the same thing, the standards are different.
So it's kind of a teachable moment in a sense. No, the reason I ask is I'm not trying to be difficult. The analysis is very useful, but over the years we've had cases where we said the case is untimely, but if it were timely, here's what we would do. And it just seems to me that in most instances with a staff that's taxed to get things with a lot of work, that having to do the work if it's not a timely application, I'm just curious as to the thought process. That's all. My other question is, so in this case, the landlord, after a warrant of eviction was issued against the tenant, and I guess it wasn't ever executed as such because the tenant wasn't there to be evicted, the landlord then turned around and executed a one-year lease with one of the two brothers that's living there at a higher rent rate. How does our finding that this unit was not abandoned impact the validity of that lease?
It doesn't deregulate it based on abandonment. Whether there's a sale or something else that happens in Trump, then that would have a different impact. But this establishes that the unit was not deregulated based on
What it means is that the tenants, if they so choose, might want to off the board about what rights they do and do not have with regards to that meeting.
I would agree. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, one other question. It's denied with or without prejudice?
It's denied. It's denied. We don't deny in a master case without prejudice. Denied.
There's no second bite at the apple.
They can move for reconsideration. They can do it, but this is what it is.
But they cannot file another application for banning. Okay.
Further comments, questions? Is there a motion to accept this case? Second, Mr. Barrett. Mr. Mayor, poll the members.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Chief.
Yes.
Jefferson Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon Rivera. Yes. Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz.
Yes.
7 in favor.
Thank you. Fourth case is an access case. It is 141 Spencer Street, LLC, 141 Spencer Street, Brooklyn, LS 0227. Ms. Ruth, please present this case.
February 24, 2015, the owner of 141 Spencer Street, Brooklyn, filed an application seeking an order directing access for 7 units in the building. Prior to the hearing on May 19, 2015, all but the occupants of unit 201 and 301 provided access. The tenants of these units did not answer the application on the day during the hearing. The access application with regard to these 2 units were forwarded as an inquest. The owner did not present any witnesses during the inquest. After the hearing, Judge Casey informed the owner's counsel that owner failed to comply with the notice requirements for access in the law court rule. Judge Casey gave the owner an opportunity to issue new access notices before issuing a decision. However, despite being given the opportunity to comply with the notice provisions, the owner still failed to comply. In the report, Judge Casey recommended that the application be denied. The staff agrees and also recommends that the board find the owner for non-compliance with the notice provisions. The notice requirements in the law court rules contain specific instructions about timing and substance of the access notices. And I am the owner is required to send 2 access notices for 1 access date. The initial access request was to provide a range of 3 consecutive days for work to be completed in 1 working day, and the owner was sent a second notice within a specific time to suspend the access date and to cancel the scheduled work. The only access notice provided prior to the filing of the application dated January 20th, 2015 for access on February 2nd, 2015. The notice is defective because it does not provide a range of 3 consecutive days, and the owner failed to provide the second notice confirming the access date. Instead of recommending that the application be denied, based on the owner's failure to comply with the notice requirements, Judge Casey afforded the owner another opportunity to send the notices. However, there's nothing in the law court rules that would permit an owner to retroactively correct defective access notices by issuing a new notice during the course of an access application. In fact, the law court has held that when an owner fails to provide proper notice for access prior to initiating an access application, the application must be dismissed. Here, the owner failed to provide proper notice, therefore the tenants were not required to provide access. Based on the owner's failure to provide proper access twice, the staff recommends that the board dismiss the application and impose a civil penalty of $1,000 in this matter. Questions?
Could you explain how these fines work? Is it one fine, whether it's 1 tenant or 2 or 3 or 4? Just one fine of $1,000? For example, if the other access, I don't know whether it was given without the landlord taking the legal process and acting it, but they let him in. So shouldn't the landlord get fined, even though the tenant let the landlord in? I don't know how our fine thing worked with that, but just one fine, whether it's just 1 tenant or 2 or 3 or 4?
parties.
Two parties, but it's just that.
But,
one-
and what, I think what you're saying, Mr. Barowitz, is there were more than two people that received the faulty notice.
Yeah.
However, they didn't,
Second notice.
yeah, but they didn't complain, so that wouldn't have been before us necessarily to, you know, we don't monitor all of the access access
No, of course you don't.
notices. So we wouldn't have that before us, but whether it's one or two, I don't think we considered that. Yeah, we have to check the rule to see whether it's one or two.
I have a question in a similar vein, which is, we all agree that tenants providing access is essential, and we've seen a lot of bumbling access applications over the years. But to my knowledge, I don't recall us ever having levied a fine on access before. And my question is just what caused this particular case to warrant that? So that there's some guidepost going forward.
We have done it before. We found two cases, one of this was where we did impose a fine against the owner.
Okay, there's some, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's such a long story.
Yes. So many.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the situation where the owner did it twice and, you know, didn't do it correctly twice. And so we followed that precedent.
Okay.
And at that time, it was only $1,000.
Yes.
Was it only one tenant, or was it one?
No, it's not. It was one unit.
Anyone else? Is there a motion to accept this case? Thank you. Have a second? Mr. Rivera?
Mr. Barry.
Yes.
Jeep.
Yes.
Chairperson Fisher.
Yes.
Spignani.
Yes.
Stoneman Rivera.
Yes.
Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Shelton.
Yes.
Dennis. Baker.
Thank you. The fifth case is a coverage case. It is Gerald Werner and Jay Neidig, 247-249 West 16th Street, PR 1105. Ms. Cruz, please present the case.
On July 29th of 2015, the occupants of the third floor of 247 and 249 West 16th Street filed a coverage application seeking determination that the building was an IND pursuant to 281(1) of Northwood zoning law, and that they were the protected occupants of the third floor. In the report, Judge Casey recommended that the coverage application be denied because the applicants failed to communicate 3 independent tenants in the building on December 1st, 1981, since April 1st of 1980. The staff recommends that the board accept Judge Casey's recommendation. One of the eligibility requirements for Article 7C is that the building be occupied as a residence or a home with 3 or more families living independently on December 1st, 1981, since April 1st of 1980. The applicants offered evidence demonstrating the residential occupancy of the second floor in Unit 3F on April 1st of 1980. But as Judge Casey found, this was not the case for Unit 3R. The inconsistent testimonies about when Mr. Hansa began residentially occupying Unit 3R and the documentary evidence here did not establish that Mr. Hansa occupied Unit 3R on April 1st of 1980. Mr. Hansa and Mr. Lerner testified that Mr. Hansa moved into Unit 3R at some point between December of 1979 and January of 1980. But Ms. Tersey, who occupied Unit 3F, testified that Mr. Hansa moved in at some point in 1976 to 1978. Mr. Lerner and Mr. Hansa both testified that the rent for Unit 3R was $675, and that Mr. Hansa began paying rent in January of 1980. There was no corroborating evidence for Unit 1. There was no lease which established the rent amount, and there was no proof of any rent payments in January, February, and March of 1980. While the tenants presented Mr. Lerner's bank statements, which showed deposits of $675 on April 2nd of 1980, there was no evidence confirming that the April 2nd deposit was actually from Mr. Hansa or that the deposit was a rent payment for Unit 3R. Bank statement that shows the deposit only proves the deposit was made on that day. As Judge Casey noted, although Mr. Lerner and Mr. Hansa both stated that Mr. Hansa lived in Unit 3R for 4 months, the first evidence of any best, it only shows that Mr. Hans's residential occupancy began sometime in 1980, not that he residentially occupied the WR on April 1st, 1980. Staff recommends that the board deny the application.
Questions, comments? Our motion to accept this case? No question about what happens.
There's no finding, it's they're not covered, they just stay there in the building that's on.
Not necessarily. It's up to the owner what happens to this man.
That's all. Anyone else?
I just wanted to add that we're going back 35 years.
Well, I think this is it.
And, you know, and somehow not sort of updating our whole process when it comes to who was covered in 1979 or 81. But I understand the obvious choice, but
I think this certainly demonstrates the difficulties in bringing a coverage application under the old law with memories and documents that have been destroyed or stored away someplace. So unfortunately, that's what happened.
Anyone else? Is there a motion to accept this case? Thank you. A second? Ms. Bauer? Ms. Rivera?
Mr. Bowden?
yes.
Chief?
Yes.
Chairperson Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Golden Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Ms. Sheldon?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Thank you. The sixth case is also a coverage case. It is Jung Hong Zhao. Sorry, 816 Broadway, TR 1134, TR 1161. Ms. Cruz, would you please present this case?
In this case, the tenant first floor unit filed an application seeking Article 76 coverage for the entire first floor and protected occupant status pursuant to 281.1 of multiple dwelling law. In her report, Judge Ordinari made 2 recommendations regarding Article 7C coverage for the first floor. First, she recommended that the application for coverage for the entire first floor be denied because the tenant failed to prove that the entire first floor was used for residential purposes during the window period. Second, in the alternative, Judge Ordinari found that the rear portion of the first floor was used for residential purposes during the window period, but that the coverage application should be denied because it did not meet the minimum size requirements for coverage. With regard to her recommendation about the entire first floor, the evidence in the record shows that during the window period, the front portion of the first floor had been used for commercial purposes by the antique store, and the rear portion had been residentially occupied by the building superintendent. The staff recommends that the board accept the recommendation to deny coverage for the entire first floor. Although the oath judge made a finding with regard to the rear space, coverage of the rear space exclusively was not raised in any of the pleadings, testimony, or post-hearing briefs. There was no evidence presented regarding the size of the rear space or the existence of a window. Judge Ordinari based her recommendation on a drawing of the first floor that did not have any measurements. The staff recommends that the board reject Judge Ordinari's recommendation to deny coverage for the rear space. The claim is not properly before the board. If the tenant wishes to seek coverage of the rear space of the first floor, she can rely on the finding in this report about the residential occupancy of the rear space during the window period. The staff also recommends that the board reject the recommendation with respect to the tenant's claim for protected occupant status until there's a recommendation for coverage. Any consideration of a protected occupant claim is premature.
Thank you. Discussion.
Can you just shed any light on why the tenant filed 3 different coverage applications?
Why she did it, I don't know. What was holding it up on our side is that she didn't file proof of service. It was a filing defect. And we sent her notices and, didn't.
Sometimes when you're doing this on your own without an attorney, it becomes a daunting process. And so it seemed for this one.
Okay, thanks.
Other comments, questions? Fort Greenwich Street, LE 0649. Lightstone Acquisitions 2, LLC, 90 Fulton Street, LE 0655. Comments or questions on these cases? Is there a motion to accept? Ms. Schultz, thank you. Do I have a second? Mr. Delaney, thanks. Ms. Rivera?
Mr. Byron?
Yes.
Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Thank you. This will conclude our November 19th, 2015 Law Board public meeting. Our next public meeting will be here at Spector Hall, 22 Reed Street, first floor on January 21st, 2016, at 2 p.m. Happy holidays.
Please hand in your sign-in sheets, and we will actually let you know whether we will be here at the next meeting, and then it will be posted on our website. City Planning is moving out of this building so that they can do whatever it is they do. So it'll either be here or more than likely, if not here, it will be at 280 Broadway. Okay? Thank you all. Happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you.